Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I do very basic, pretty easy calligraphy. This video is for beginners, so you don't need a bunch of fancy supplies. Here, I'm just using my Crayola washable markers. They are pretty cheap, they are just a few dollars for 10 different colors, and they last you quite a long time, so I highly recommend them if you are starting your lettering journey or rekindling your love for hand lettering. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what, in my opinion, are the most useful tips for learning modern calligraphy, but I'm also going to be sharing some information that I wish I knew when I was learning how to do it myself. It took me 4.5 years to get my calligraphy the way it is today, so please don't judge yourself or compare yourself to other people in this art community because we are all in different stages of our art journey. If you're learning along with me, go ahead and grab your markers and some paper, and let's get right into it. To start off, I wanted to show you guys some of the most popular calligraphy markers on the market. First, we have the Tombow dual brush pen. These pens run at about $2 per pen, so they are a bit pricey, but they do last a long time and they are very good for calligraphy. Maybe not so good for beginners because they do have a pretty flimsy tip, so I would recommend the Crayola over Tombow for beginners, but Tombow are definitely good for more advanced and when you feel more comfortable with it. The next marker is an Artline Stix marker. These have a very similar tip to the Tombow, but they are a bit more resistant and they have a thicker tip, so it is a little bit easier. Next is the classic Crayola marker. This is what I will be using as a demonstration for today, just because they are the cheapest and most effective marker to use when as a beginner. And I will link all of these markers in the description box below if you want to check them out. Next is a Crayola Supertips, which is just a good stationery classic to have on hand anyways, but it is actually also very good for calligraphy. It makes smaller letters than the big Crayola markers, so it is good to have on hand. They are also very easy to control, and they are cheap as well. You can get a 50 pack for $10. Next is a Zebra Mildliner. I wanted to include a pen that has a chisel tip as well as a marker tip to show you that calligraphy can be done with chisel tip ends. Next, I'm just going back in with my Crayola Supertips to show you that faux calligraphy can be done with any fine liner or basically any marker. As you can see here, I also went in with a flare pen. You just draw squiggly lines, and then on the downstrokes, you make it thicker and then go back and fill it in. It is really simple and really easy to make it look like you did calligraphy, even if you haven't mastered it yet. Next, for smaller letters, I use the Tombow Fudenosuke soft and hard tip. The soft tip here has a slightly larger nib and is black. The soft tip, because of the slightly less resistant nib, gives you a little bit bigger letters than the hard tip does, and it is a little bit harder to control. The hard tip, as shown here, is blue, so you can distinguish between the two markers, and it has a smaller nib, so it is a lot easier to control, in my opinion, and can give you really, really tiny and thin letters. Moving on to the next portion is the aim of the game today, which is you tilt the marker, do not use pressure. Pressure can definitely help, but here you can see that I'm tilting the marker, so I'm using the thick side versus just pressing really hard with the marker because that will ruin it and cause a lot of ink to come out at the same time. This is one of the tips I wish I knew when I was learning calligraphy because I started out with Tombow dual brush pens and I just used pressure at the start, and so I ruined a lot of them because I didn't know that really all you need to do is turn and rotate the marker so that you are using the thick side of the brush tip. Here, I don't want you to focus on anything other than rotating the marker versus pressing. On the next piece of paper, I show you how to transition from the thin lines to the thick lines, as well as from the thick lines to the thin, but right now, all you need to worry about is not pressing hard, because I promise it won't give you as good of results. Here, I'm showing you how when I go for the downstrokes, I am simply rotating it, and that is really all I'm trying to stress to you at this beginning point, because the first step is truly figuring out how you hold your marker and how it is most effective for you to rotate it in a comfortable way with grip. I know this probably looks daunting because I started off right off the bat with fancy calligraphy, but you don't have to try anything with me yet. I will show you how I started very simple on the next page with just thick and thin lines, so just stay tuned until I show you how to do that. Okay, it is time to get out your piece of paper and marker, and here we are going to practice upstrokes and downstrokes. In calligraphy, the whole idea is that your upstrokes are thin and your downstrokes are thick. This gives you the very satisfying look of calligraphy. Here you can see for the upstrokes, I used the very tip of my marker, and for the downstrokes, I once again rotated it to use the thick side. As for connecting the two, I find it easier as a beginner to just go ahead and pick up your pen. I know that might seem a little bit different than what you're used to hearing, where calligraphy is all in one take, but in the real world, it isn't. For my lettering videos, in order to make it perfect, I do have to pick up my pencil, and that is okay. Here, I'm showing you the black is the thick downstrokes, and the brown are the thin upstrokes. Just take some time to practice the motion and transitioning between the upstrokes and the downstrokes, as well as the downstrokes and the upstrokes, because they are very different motions. For using these strokes in letters, I just showed you in the first A, B, and C how easy it is to just disconnect the downstrokes and the upstrokes, and then for the D and E, I showed you just have to rotate your pen again in order to connect them. As for translating these rules to calligraphy, all you have to do is connect each of the letters with a thin, wispy line. As we start to move into how to develop your own style, here I'm showing you a simple, more minimalist way of calligraphy, as well as a curly-cute, fancy way. Once you have mastered the basics of calligraphy, such as the thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes, now it is time to find your unique own style. Here I'm using the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip, and I'm going to be writing out the alphabet in 3 different ways. The first way is just the basic, no embellishment letter. The second way is a very curly-cue, circly calligraphy. And then the last way is a little more simple calligraphy, which is what I go for usually, and it's more my style. These, of course, are not the only ways you can do calligraphy or letter the alphabet. There are a million different possibilities, and all you have to do is practice it a little bit, find what works for you, and over time, you will slowly but surely develop your own unique style. Here in this up-close shot, I just wanted to show you that not all of them are perfect. Some of the thin lines are a little bit wobbly, but usually I would go back in and clean them up, or just make them fit my needs of how clean and beautiful I want my lettering to be. Feel free to pause this video at any time if you want to take a picture and just copy some of the letters that I'm doing. Usually I don't agree with trying to copy other people's because I think you have your own style that you need to find, but as a beginner I can understand why it's easier just to copy what someone else is doing, and then once you get better you can start adding embellishments and really making it your own. This brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for learning calligraphy along with me. I hope you guys took some inspiration, or maybe some of my tips and advice helped you guys with starting your own calligraphy journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe for more content like this. Feel free to leave a comment as well with any how-to videos you would like to see, or any other video ideas with calligraphy or lettering. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I wish you the best of luck on your calligraphy journeys. As always, if you have any tips, recommendations, or requests, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to make some fun videos. Until the next, bye!